because there's so much hype around your She-Hulk appearance. I'm seeing a lot of discourse around hardcore Daredevil fans going like, "What is Murdoch going to do in this comedy?" As if he has no sense of humor.
Right.
Which I would love to hear your opinion on, because we know that's not true. What has been your reaction to She-Hulk so far, and the tone they've taken with it?
When I read the She-Hulk scripts, one thing that I felt like I knew I was doing 1 or 2 episodes in the She-Hulk show, and I read the scripts, and the tonally is completely different from anything we've ever done. But it's, I feel like I've played this character long enough to have earned the opportunity to experiment for 1 episode. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But not knowing what the tone of our show was going to be, but knowing that we're on Disney Plus and therefore it could be different.
Daredevil is back, and he's done playing games. That's right. Charlie Cox has finally spoken up, and he's making it clear. This new Daredevil series is leaving behind the cringy rom-com antics of She-Hulk and bringing back the brutal, no-nonsense hero fans fell in love with. And guess what? Disney is scrambling. After Daredevil's embarrassing cameo and She-Hulk completely tanking fan goodwill, Marvel is in full-blown damage control. But is it too late? Stick around, because I'm breaking down how Cox is erasing She-Hulk's legacy, why Marvel is panicking, and whether this reboot will save the MCU or finish it off for good.
She-Hulk in a great cameo, and Matt is having more success in his love life now than ever before.
It depends how you define success, but okay.
That's true. How do you feel about that? Can you talk about working with Tatiana Maslany?
Yeah, so I can certainly speak about Tatiana. I think she's one of the great actors of our generation. And so it's such a thrill to work with her. And she's so fun. She made everything so fun and easy. And it was fun for me because having played this character for a number of years at that point, and there was an opportunity with She-Hulk when I read those scripts. I was like, well, this is a really good opportunity to have a little bit more fun with the character, and I think it's important to honor the tone of the show that you're in, not just the character.
But here's the real question. Can Daredevil be saved? Or is this just Marvel's last desperate attempt to win back an audience that's already checked out? See, Daredevil wasn't just another Marvel show, it was the Marvel show. It treated comic book fans like adults, proving that superheroes didn't need to be watered down for mass appeal. It was gritty, raw, and real. It gave us a Matt Murdock, who bled, suffered, and crawled through Hell's Kitchen, refusing to break. Then Disney Plus happened. Marvel's best TV property was gutted. Daredevil was stripped of everything that made him special and rebranded as a quippy guest star in She-Hulk, attorney at law. The man once defined by pain, morality, and resilience was reduced to a punchline, a disposable love interest in a yellow suit. And then came the walk of shame, the moment that shattered everything. Marvel didn't just mishandle Daredevil's return, they humiliated him. That single scene wasn't just a bad joke. It was the complete dismantling of a character built with care over 3 intense seasons. The Daredevil we knew was defined by struggle, intensity, and deeply personal conflicts. Now, he was a barefoot punchline, wandering the streets after a meaningless one-night stand. For years, Daredevil was one of the few superheroes who could be vulnerable without being weak. His relationships weren't just side plots, they were woven into his pain, his guilt, and his unwavering sense of duty. Whether it was Elektra, Karen Page, or his complicated alliance with the Punisher, his connections mattered. But She-Hulk ignored all of that. His cameo wasn't about character growth, world building, or setting up his future. It was about turning him into a joke. And fans noticed the backlash was instant. Social media erupted as YouTube breakdowns and Twitter threads ripped apart how She-Hulk had fundamentally misunderstood one of Marvel's most beloved heroes. Even casual viewers with no knowledge of the comics could tell something was wrong. The tonal shift was too drastic to ignore. This wasn't just a misstep, it was a betrayal.
If I'd have taken the Daredevil that I portrayed in the Daredevil show and put him in She-Hulk, he might have been like the butt of the joke a little bit. You're overly serious and stuff. So I thought it was A, important, but B, also kind of a good experiment to have him be a little lighthearted. You know, and also just like when in LA, just maybe just like let loose a little bit. So no, it was just awesome. It was just an awesome experience, and I think most people like it. Yeah, occasionally you get people who really don't like it, and like, you know, some people, especially some very religious people, don't like the walk of shame, which I think is kind of funny.
It's crazy. Matt's a crazy religious dude. Like,
yeah, he doesn't always act like one.
After Marvel knew Daredevil's return was a big deal. They hyped it for weeks, milking nostalgia to keep She-Hulk's viewership from flatlining. But instead of delivering the comeback fans had waited years for, they threw it away for a cheap laugh. That scene was everything wrong with modern Marvel. Shallow storytelling, characters reduced to marketing gimmicks, and a desperate reliance on familiar faces to hide creative bankruptcy. But this time, the backlash was louder than Marvel expected. Millions watched videos tearing the moment apart. Even the most die-hard Marvel defenders, the ones who stood by Thor, Love, and Thunder in Ms. Marvel, were stunned. For years, Daredevil was Marvel's outlier, the one character who stood apart from the MCU's increasingly predictable, quip-heavy formula. Fans trusted Marvel to handle his return with care. Instead, they got a brutal reminder. No character, not even Daredevil, is safe from Marvel's current identity crisis. Now, Marvel is in full-blown damage control. Charlie Cox is back. She-Hulk is quietly being erased from continuity. Daredevil, Born Again, is being completely reworked, rebuilt from the ground up to undo the damage. Marvel wants fans to believe they still understand what made Daredevil great. But do they?
Yeah, so I had to go to LA to have a fitting, and I walk in. I can say this now. I walk in. I knew I wasn't going to wear it in Spider-Man. I knew that much. But whilst we were doing Spider-Man, we were getting ready to do She-Hulk, and so I had to go to LA to a fitting, and I walk in, and the suit is hanging there. But then there's a picture there's a drawing on the wall, and it has the gold and red. Then I was like, no way. It's funny because when you play the character this long, you're emotionally connected to the fan's response. So you see something like that, and it means something to you, but you know what it means, what it's gonna mean. Like you start to have a sense of how people are going to respond to that. So I saw that, and then they come in with it. And I'm like, oh man, this is unreal.
Oh, and man, let me tell you, I walk in, and I can finally talk about this now. I knew I wasn't going to wear the suit in Spider-Man. No Way Home, that much was clear. But while we were filming Spider-Man, we were also prepping for She-Hulk. So I had to fly out to LA for a fitting. I walk in, and there it is, the suit, just hanging there. But then, on the wall, I see a drawing, and it's gold and red, and I'm like, no way. It's funny, because when you've played a character for this long, you're emotionally connected to how fans react. So, the moment I saw that suit, I knew what it meant. I knew exactly how people were going to respond.